Hey everybody, we've got a great video for you today because myself and Case behind the camera are looking at a pretty unusual car because this looks like any other Honda Accord, except this one has been driven a little bit more than most, Case.
Yeah, you know, when people talk about Honda and durability, they usually have a lot to say there, and this car is a perfect example of what people say about Honda durability because Honda owns this car for this particular reason. Over 1 million miles, and actually this number is a little bit old. If we look at the odometer, which is rolled over, you can see it's about 1,003,440 miles. And lots happened in this car's lifetime.
Oh, you know it. So let's talk about the story of this car. It was bought brand new by a gentleman that worked for Honda. His name was Joe, and he used this car to drive around various parts of the country to different dealerships, right, Case?
Yeah, and you know what's actually extra surprising is that he was based in the Northeast. So that, I mean, 1 million miles on any car is obviously a big ask, but 1 million miles on a car that's based around the Northeast is an even bigger ask.
Yeah, pretty astonishing. And because of his feat of driving so many miles, Honda actually took the car back, used it for promotion, and apparently he got a brand new car because of it. And we've seen this a couple times, like the Toyota Tundra, right? Guy got a new truck. The Nissan Frontier guy got a new truck. So if you want a free car or truck, it seems the way to do it is just to drive in 1 million miles.
Yeah, but then think about, I mean, calculate the amount of fuel, even in a car like this, how much you would spend on fuel to drive something 1 million miles. And yeah, if all you want is a new car, there's probably cheaper ways to do it.
Well, let's pop the hood and let's start talking about some of the things that he's had to do to drive this car over 1 million miles, because it's quite a few oil changes, it's quite a few transmission fluid changes, tires, that kind of thing. But the engine, I think, is original, right, Case?
Yeah, so the engine, transmission, even the AC, the brake calipers are all original on this car. And apparently, this car's only ever been on a tow truck once in its life when a fuel pump went at about 741,000 miles. But like Tommy said, a lot of maintenance items on this car. So it's been 185 oil changes, apparently, 9 timing belts, 13 sets of brake pads, and 72 tires, 31 transmission fluid changes.
That is nuts.
Yeah,
that is so many.
72 tires? That's a lot of tires.
And 9 timing belts?
Yeah, 9 timing belts.
Yeah. I mean, it just goes to show, though, that especially with these older Hondas, if you keep up with the maintenance, they will just continue to drive. And you could say, well, any car, if you keep up with the maintenance, they'll just keep going. But I'd imagine, really. Yeah, I'd imagine, you know, 1 million miles on this Accord is going to look pretty different than 1 million miles on maybe some 1980s British brands. You know what I mean? Now, of course, yeah, being a Northeast car, we do see a lot of corrosion.
Yeah, and I will say that Honda, they did do some paint and body work on this car just to get the exterior looking right, but mechanically, this car is mostly all original. And from what Carl from Honda, Carl Pulley, told us is that the guy, Joe, the service tech who owned this car, his kind of theory, his philosophy around it was that if you keep up with the maintenance, oil changes, do things at the proper intervals, then you should be able to make a car go essentially forever.
Yeah, that's right. Now let's talk about this engine. So this is a 2.2 liter 4-cylinder engine. It was a big deal when this engine debuted. 16 valves compared to the previous gen, which was the 3rd gen, right? And that was a 12 valve. I think at the beginning of this video I said this is a 4th gen car or 5th gen. It's a 4th gen. 2.2 liters, all aluminum engine with 4 valves per cylinder. So yeah, that was pretty remarkable.
Yeah, very, very high tech for its time. And here, let's show the interior because we looked briefly at the odometer, but the other really impressive thing about this car is how the interior is held up. And you can obviously see where, especially here on the seats, a little bit of wear there on the steering wheel. And you can tell that this car has seen a lot of miles, but at the same time, you wouldn't guess that a lot of miles means over 1 million, judging just by the way that this interior looks. It's obviously been cleaned up a lot.
But like, look at like the dash, right? I mean, you have a 2nd gen Cummins with 100 miles on it, and the dash will probably be cracked. Million miles on this Honda dash, and it looks great. The seats, yeah, like you said, they're a little dirty and a little stained, but 1,000,000 miles on the seats, and they don't even feel collapsed. They're not even ripped or torn on either the driver or the passenger seat. The steering wheel has come delaminated a little bit, so it's a little bit like Jello. But like you can see, you know, some of the bumps have gone, but once again, still is not torn or cracked, still is sticking around. What was he listening to? Let's see what Million Mile Joe was into. Madonna.
Madonna. Nice.
Now we know the real reason it went so long.
Yeah, and then there was actually another story too around this shirt that's in the back here. So apparently it's pretty common in Japan for people, even in the factories, to wear white.
Well, it's a rule.
Yeah, and so they made a special shirt for this car and for its owner in that kind of classic traditional style. So that's why this shirt is there in white.
Oh, check this out, Case. Look at that.
Huh.
Meet Million Mile Joe, the man who has passed 1,000,000 miles in his 1990 Honda Accord.
Yeah, they did a whole bunch of promotion around this car because obviously it's good PR for Honda, showing that here's this Accord that's gone over 1,000,000 miles. Yeah, and really, really impressive to see.
Look, so I think this is his letter. I bought my 1990 Honda Accord LX 13 and a half years ago with 74,000 miles. This is my first time buying a Honda. My Honda was made in America. That's true. They're made in Marysville. It currently has 907,000 miles on it. So this day, the car still amazes me. So you can see that was sent in 11/27 of 2009. And they have some of the...
Yeah.
Look at that.
It's really, really cool. For the first time the vehicle was towed. See, January 8th, 2007.
741,000
fuel
miles.
pump, yeah.
And it's pretty cool. I'm just looking through here. I think these are all of his maintenance receipts.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Dude, look at that. He kept every receipt for nearly 1,000,000 miles. 2005.
Yeah, that's a thick bunch of folders.
Look at this. He's got a full file that's nothing but glass repairs.
Yeah, I guess probably a lot of cracked windshields in 1,000,000 miles. That wasn't a figure that they told us about this car and all the maintenance that's been done to it, but I would be interested to know how many windshields has this car been through. And here too, there's another little plaque there, certificate of authenticity. Yeah, over 1,000,000 documented miles. So
Wow.
it's just really cool that Honda holds on to something like this. I mean, yeah, it's pretty cool just how much history there is around here. And if you're also interested in history,
Well, look at this case.
we're doing a bunch of videos around Accords.
So the front engine seal went at 560,000 miles. The water inlet seal went at 560,000 miles. So I'd be curious if you were to add up all of the receipts in that box.
Oh man, yeah. Imagine just how much in maintenance alone, not even to mention fuel.
I wonder how much in maintenance it would be. It would add
Yeah,
up to.
it would be a lot. It's probably more than the car costs.
Probably more, but pretty impressive. So I thought he bought it new. I think he bought it at 74,000 miles.
Yeah.
Is what the receipts were saying there. But regardless, we're talking about someone who drove this car, you know, nearly 1,000,000 miles, and that's a long time to own a car from 96.
That is a long time to own a car.
96 or the early 2010s, right? But it's pretty cool that Honda, you know, is keeping this in their collection to kind of showcase what they are capable of in terms of reliability and durability.
Yeah, and speaking of Honda's collection, if you want to see some more really cool, historically significant cars, we've got a few older Accords there that are part of a video that we did comparing it to some of the newer Accords. And then this is another interesting Accord, 67 miles on that car, one that Honda has had since brand new. So you can kind of see what a 1,000,000 mile Accord looks like right next to one that's got less than 100 miles.
That's pretty crazy. Well, guys, thank you so much for this tour of the 1,000,000 mile Honda. As always, it's been Tommy.
And Case.
We'll see you on the next episode.